Hello, all.
Bill, the freshman big men played pretty well, I thought, Saturday. Is that something you'd seen coming in practice?
Well, they have played better in practice, primarily Shaq. Shaq's played better the last couple of days in practice, and I thought he was, pretty good. And Carlton obviously made some shots and played well. And those 8 points of jumpers, kind of bailed us out when Perry wasn't in the game. So they were very important there, especially the first half.
How do you arrive at that number 5 spot? Is it practice, matchups, or statistical information?
I'd say more matchups and practice. There's certain things that, like Landon the other day, the reason he started overtime, he hadn't played, is because, if you can steal a possession on the jump ball, which he was able to, has a better chance to do. Of course, they won the tip. So, but he stayed in the whole time and played well. I thought Mari played really well and was active. And a lot of it's experience too, Tom. Depending, like we played triangle and 2 majority of the second half, or at least half the second half. And our veteran guys have a much better chance to play that well than what Shaq and Carlton do because we haven't practiced as much of late.
Bill, last time you won a overtime game at home, the next few games didn't go so well. Was there an emotional drain from that, do you think? Certainly the schedule was difficult.
Yeah, I would say not like the OU game. I mean, that was like playing an extra game almost, it seemed like. Kentucky game didn't quite feel like that. But I would, I could be wrong, Blair, but I would think this will have a different feel to it than what the OU game did. The OU game, I gave them 2 days off, basically. Of course, we can't do that now, but gave them off yesterday, and I think that we were just, But even after the OU game, we went to Tech and won. So I don't know if it was really that. I think it was kind of more that after the Tech game and then the short turnaround to West Virginia. I don't know if that's what did it, but certainly the OU game took some out of us. But I don't feel like this one will have the same effect.
Well, usually the triangle 2 is kind of matchup based, but how vital is it for this team to play more zone, or is that just what's going to happen?
Our guys don't want to play zone. During the first half, I said, let's play 2-3, and they're like, no, we can guard them, Coach, which we didn't. But we went 2-3. You guys don't even know it. 2 possessions in the first half, and they scored 5 points because we didn't because both of the points on both possessions were kind of in transition, where guys didn't run back to their spots, whatever. So I don't think it's that important that you play some defense other than man, so your guys can see it work. I don't think that our guys know what we want to hang our hat on and then sprinkle in other things. But certainly the triangle 2, it did bail us out Saturday whenever Willis wasn't in the game.
How about going back to Wayne? Not just that he had 33, but kind of how he got them with a variety of shots.
Yeah.
It didn't rely just on the three-pointer, and how positive is that?
Well, he took 5 threes in a game in which he played 44 minutes, which is a low number, but he drove it so well, and he got to the free throw line more, and he even got an offensive rebound, put back. He scored many ways, and I do think his driving the ball should set up his shot as opposed to the other way around. Because he shoots it plenty good enough that people are going to have to guard him. They're going to have to close out. But he's got to take advantage of those bad closeouts. And he did a much, much, much better job against Kentucky. And, he got 2 or 3 shots blocked with no fouls. I mean, but at least he's aggressive going to the hole. And he got some confidence, I think, when he made his first couple, knowing that would be a way he could score.
What did you think of his hustle on that play in overtime?
That's a great play. We didn't capitalize, because we didn't get a score, but that was a great play. I mean, Wayne made a lot of really good plays throughout the game. It was also a big play when he took the charge on Poitras, late in the second half. but we watch the tape and we'll show them edit clips. There's so many things that he and our other guys can do better, especially defensively. But yeah, he played. I don't know if he's had a more complete game since he's been here. He's had games where he maybe scored the ball, making threes. Florida obviously last year comes to mind in the second half, and there's been other games, but I mean he was a complete basketball player on Saturday.
Do you have an update on Hunter?
He's getting treatment. I don't think he can practice today, but Bill said it was, day to day, and maybe he can get out on the floor a little bit, hopefully beginning tomorrow. Availability on Wednesday is still up in the air.
You've talked before about, man-to-man defense being just a want-to thing, not wanting your guy to score. What else do you do to work on that?
No, that's not really true. I think a lot of people use the analogy, if you're tough and if you want to do it, you can. That's not necessarily true. There's actions, how you guard, how you help and recover. There's rotations. There's a lot of thinking that goes on into it, and also the discipline or whatever to always move as your man adjusts, or as your man moves, or as the ball moves, you always adjust. There's a lot of things, and sometimes people are very slow in doing that. But there's a lot of we do our deals in practice, but the hardest thing for us to guard is the ball. I mean, regardless of if you look across America, we're not the only ones. Everybody's having a hard time guarding the ball because guards are so good and they're so quick. Frank is really a good guard, and Ulis got where he wants to. Well, Ulis would get where he wants to regardless of who's guarding him. And a lot of times, but it's not the person guarding the ball as much as it is the people off the ball not being in correct positioning, and then you're going to get beat some, but you can't allow straight line drives. You have to at least direct your guy away from the basket in some form or fashion, and we didn't do that with Ulis or Briscoe to start the game. They were straight line drives, and when you do that, you can't help. So your big comes uphill to help, and you pass the ball beneath, and you get dunks. That's what it's supposed to look like. So, but the biggest thing we could do is just work on. We need to get with the football coaches and get some cornerback drills or something, except those are always running as opposed to sliding. But that's kind of the mindset that we need to have, is just to be able to, you don't have to totally stop your guy, but you got to at least direct him control him and direct him in a certain direction. And the way the rules are now, where you can't put your hands on him, it's hard to do.
Yeah, with that said, how realistic is it for improvement? I mean, how much
Oh, it's real. Yeah.
in a season?
Yeah, we've gone through phases where we guarded very well. We had some great possessions the other night defensively, but too many poor ones. But yeah, we can get better doing that. Yeah, that's not anything that we're not going to win. We're not going to win big if we play zone. That's not who we are. So, but we need to be able to play some. But certainly, I don't think that's the antidote for success with us.
Your guys' reluctance, in the first half to go to zone, saying they could stay man to man. Is that just because they're more comfortable in doing so?
Yeah, probably so. The thing about it is if you're not a good defender, doesn't mean that you can automatically be a good defender in zone. I mean, you still got to guard the ball when it's in your area. I mean, but Kentucky, even though they didn't end up shooting the three good, I mean, hey, when you got Murray and Ulis and Willis in the game together, that's not the easiest combination to play zone because their guards are so good at getting in there. Triangle and two was a better fit for us whenever Willis wasn't in the game, and that was a big factor was when Willis got in foul trouble, because then you could play triangle and two, because one of their two bigs isn't going to shoot a three. I mean, both their bigs won't shoot threes. Although Poitras did and he made it, but still, though, that would be the percentage play.
What do you see with K-State?
Studying them still, just like Bruce's teams, make it hard to score, really guard, sound defensively, probably as sound defensively as anybody we played. I don't know about the point guard situation in the injury, and I don't know, have we heard exactly? Questionable, but he's having a good year and he's a really good player, but I think he's done a great job of taking this many good new guys and getting them all to buy in to guard the way they have, getting more and more confidence offensively. But I think they've been a pleasant surprise. And if you really study them and look at their league record, there's only 2 games that they couldn't have won in league. I mean, they're right there to win games, and I think they lost one in double overtime, lost West Virginia in overtime, and then there was one more game that they could have easily won. Was it Texas in overtime? Yeah, I mean, so they're right there to really have and Baylor was double overtime. West Virginia was overtime, if I'm not mistaken. Texas, they're right there. So, I mean, they're right there to have their record reversed in league. And we know they'll be amped up to play, and our guys will be excited to play, and so certainly it should be a fun atmosphere.
So that's not a concern. The atmosphere was just off the hook on Saturday night. Did you expect to carry the same thing on Monday?
I would hope so, but you can't always predict that. Unfortunately, from a coach's vantage point, we understand players, their magic level or their varies from game to game depending on sometimes opponents or motivation or whatever it could be. And so you can't think that the same thing doesn't go with fans, obviously. But we are playing our in-state rival, and they beat us last year at their place, and we have put ourselves in a situation where we have very little margin for error in league race, things like this. So I can't imagine that everybody wouldn't be amped to be a part of this on Wednesday.
Perry Ellis didn't have the game that he would have liked to have had on Saturday. So how important is it to get him in the game early against K-State? You know what?
We can say that it's important because it's important for us because we'll be better if he is. But the reality of it is, I mean, this kid's played in 130 games. And he's had other games where he didn't get off to great starts and things like that. So I can't believe that there would be any hangover or carryover. But the reality of it is we need him to be engaged and him to produce early in the games because it gives our team confidence, and we're certainly a much better team when that happens.
Does that experience that he has make you consider maybe not sitting him when he gets that second foul, or is that automatic?
We were actually better with him on the bench. So I mean, that's not a knock to Perry. The other guys did fine. So if we're up 6 with 3 minutes left, then why would we put him back in? That's how I was thinking. But we had no idea that they were going to go on a 17-4 run the last 3 minutes. So if the 17-4 run had occurred at the 8-minute mark, he would have gone in. But since it occurred, I'm not going to put him in with a minute and a half left because his chance to impact the game would be so minimal, and something bad could possibly happen. So I think that your point is well taken. We put Devontae in without thinking about it. But with Perry, since we were playing better, I thought that was the percentage play at that moment.
What do you think of Green's play lately and Svi at practice?
They've been fine. I'm obviously not as pleased with that as what I could be, but they've been fine. LeGerald's been the best guy off the bench in practice, and we tried to play him the other day, and that was probably too big a stage for him this early because we hadn't really given him a chance to play. But LeGerald has been of those three. I would say LeGerald's been the most consistent of the three. But you always want to have somebody in there that can stretch the defense and shoot the ball. And the thing about it is with Brandon, the other team's always going to have to guard him because he does shoot it so well.
Well, your block numbers are down this year. How important is
that?
Not
down. They're minuscule.
I just wonder how important that was for this year's team, get more rim protection, or if you guys can work around it.
I mean, what's the difference in last year? I mean, Cliff was here, but Cliff didn't play so many minutes so that it totally changed our defense. But we don't block any shots. To me, and this isn't being negative at all, but we don't have the shot blockers Kentucky has. I mean, no matter how you slice it, they got Skull and Poitras and Lee. I mean, that's what they do. And our guys don't do that. It's one thing we talk about guarding the ball. Well, it's nice if you got a guy when people penetrate that they can't see the rim, like we had with Joel or some other guys. We don't have that now. So, we talk about that and encourage that and, beg for activity. but that is important. That's a big part of defense, is having guys cover up mistakes, and obviously we haven't had that of late, and we got to get better at it. But the only time we block shots is out of transition, it seems like, where Maury or Wayne has a chance to come from behind, but we're not blocking many shots in the paint in half-court defense at all.
Is that an area Shaq could help if he gets more comfortable?
Could possibly, he there's no question he could, but he's not doing it consistently either. It's not like it's, we have the answer, just put him in. It's not like that at all. But I do think that Shaq and Hunter's our best shot block. Hunter and Shaq are our two best shot blockers, and Landon probably our third. But we just need more activity from those big guys. Shaq obviously attempted Poitras on the baseline that didn't turn out his way in the first half, but at least he went after it. But we need more guys going after it.
Bill, has K-State's young guys kind of surprised you at all with kind of how consistent they've been so far in league play?
I don't know about surprise. I wasn't familiar with all their guys when they were being recruited. Wade obviously has had a really good freshman year, and we're familiar with him, being in the state and everything. And he was really well coached in high school, and so he's made it seems like a pretty seamless transition. But I wasn't familiar with a lot of their guys. But I will say this, they could have won. They could have beat North Carolina. I mean, they had a lead with North Carolina late. They've been right there to win a lot of games. And so when you're playing with that many young guys, I guess on paper you could say it's a surprise, but I'm not sure it is. The way they play, when you guard and you make it really, really difficult and you make your opponent play bad, you always put yourself in a position to win.
You happy with rebounding, at least against Kentucky, or plus 11 against a good rebounding team?
Yeah, they got 6 back, and one of them was with 1 second left in the game, so in 45 minutes. So you get 5 back in 45 minutes against a team that rebounds like that. But on the flip side, they also shot 52%, so there's not as many opportunities to offensive rebound. But they our guys did a good job in that area. And offensively rebounding, we I don't know that we rebounded it great, but we certainly stole a lot of key possessions. That play that Maury made late and Perry made a big play late. Those were game-changing plays. But I do think that, that hasn't been our problem, defensive rebounding, although knock on wood, of late. We've actually done a better job with that.
You talk about those guys making plays late. I don't know how much of it has to do with just playing at home, but did they show you anything from a poise standpoint, making shots, making plays late in that game?
Well, yeah, we did better. Maybe some of us playing at home. In the 3 games that we lost in league, none of them were close games. When I think of a close game, I'm thinking the balance of the game is decided in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Those games weren't. So, we can talk about poise and this and that. The poise that we lost at Iowa State was at the 10-minute mark. It wasn't, late game situation. So, I think that. You say show me anything, these guys won a lot of games. They've shown me plenty over time, and so I don't think that was anything different the other day.
Did you rib Perry at all about that technical free throw?
I did. I can't believe he missed it left. Missing it short would almost be understandable, but missing it a foot and a half left too. It's I don't know what it was. It's almost like somebody had bet him that he didn't have the courage to do it, and he said, "I'll prove you wrong." But I don't know if that's ever happened, that you have your best free throw shooter go shoot your free throw. You get to pick your best, and then he goes misses short and left. But what was really amazing was he came back and made the next one. So I knew that if he hadn't made the next one, maybe it would have messed with his mind. But he showed some guts making the second one. But I doubt that happens ever again.
Could you talk about the game that Devontae had the other night and what you want to see from him?
We're talking a lot about the other night. We got another game Wednesday. But I thought Devontae was solid. He didn't score the ball a lot, but he made some great plays. and the play he made. You know, when we get the steal and he comes down full speed in transition and throws the ball back to Wayne and he gets 2 free throws. I mean, that was a huge play. But Devontae's, he's a good guard and he's certainly capable of playing at a high level. And I thought he did the other day. He and Frank just didn't make shots, but I thought they both played well, offensively especially.
How much do you enjoy playing K-State and some of your guys, most from out of state, do you address the rivalry?
Oh yeah, we will. It's we'll get a great effort from them. We know that, and our guys will certainly. They know the rivalry. We've got 3 guys that wasn't here last year, so that's only 3, and they'll be educated, and we know it's a big game to people in the state and certainly to our fan base and their fan base, and it is to the players as well. So, we'll look forward to playing.
With the Big 12 SEC Challenge out of the way, does this kind of feel like a restart now?
I did, kind of rebooted this conference season. It does to me. We're a game out of where we probably hoped we would have been. Going into conference play, we played a hard schedule. Other teams have too. It doesn't get, you look, it's going to be hard moving forward too. But I mean, there's a lot of good teams, and I don't think you can get hung up on a negative outcome too much because it's such a long grind. But 8 games in, we're a little bit behind where we hoped we'd be, and the only way we can catch up is to make sure we take care of business at home and go play better away from home. But it does feel a little bit like a reboot to me. I think that our players will probably feel the same thing too.
Bill, Saturday night, did you notice the little guy that was dressed up like James?
I didn't notice it until after the game. But everybody told me he stole the show, and apparently he was here for game day too. So the little fellow had to be worn out by the end of the day, because I guess he was carrying a basket and a ball. And, God, I get tired just coaching 2 hours of practice, let alone walking around like that. So I thought it was really class. Getting back to the other night, unbelievable atmosphere. You got obviously a ton of people squeezed in, and then you have the rules, obviously, which I heard was very, very class, and then you have the young fellow walking around like that, and you have the horns playing the national anthem. I mean, it was about as classy as it gets from a competitive standpoint, a venue standpoint. So, but I hear the little fellow added a lot to it, though.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.